Hooday, and what is up, Bengals fans? Eric Sztanyo from Team Sztanyo, Keller Williams Realty coming at you. It is Wednesday afternoon, 12 p.m. A few days removed from the Browns trouncing the Bengals in our house, 41 to, 16? Kind of returning the same favor that we did to the Ravens a couple of weeks ago. And we are now 5-4 at the bye. And how do we handle this? We're a couple days removed from the pain, the sting of that loss. I'm trying to reclassify everything in my brain as a Bengals fan and kind of reset my expectations, which I think what that means is the title of this video. Hey, we're 5-4. Enjoy the ride. That's kind of how I'm thinking about it. Is we're actually about exactly where I thought we would be, at this point in the season and really at the end of the season. I remember after like week 2, or I think it was week 2, a friend asked me, he doesn't follow the Bengals at all, but he lives in Cincinnati, so he casually cares. And he said, tell me about the team this year. I said, I think we are about a 500 team with a chance to get to the playoffs. 9 games in, we're 5-4. That seems to be about exactly right. And the problem was our expectations got all wonky 2 weeks ago, right? With that Ravens win, we thought we had arrived. National media came in, started crowning us AFC darlings, and got to our head. And I think what we all forgot is that this is the NFL, and teams adjust, and teams come back to reality. There's been a little bit of a reversion to the mean here. I think there's something crazy like 9 AFC teams that have exactly 5 wins. So it's really anyone's division still at this point. And so how do you look at this team? How do you, what do you think? I think we've got a better feel for what they are, which is not as good as we had hoped they were. A couple weeks ago, we were all like, oh my gosh, we are legit, and our defense is legit, and Joe Burrow is going to win 3 Super Bowls in a row, and we just got a little bit in front of our skis. And I think the truth is we're on a team that is ascending. We are way better than we were last year. A lot of these free agents have panned out for the better, but there's still holes. The reality, there's still holes on this team. I think before a couple of weeks ago, our red zone percentage was like 100% or something crazy, and that has slowed down. We had a drop last week in the end zone by Chase in the Jets game. Didn't get a lot of mention, but I mentioned it here. We had a drop again by Chase in the end zone. Really a lot of drops this week by the wide receivers. T. Higgins dropped some. Tyler Boyd gets like 2 targets all game. And Joe Burrow is making mistakes. Joe Burrow's proving himself to be human. We all know Joe Burrow's awesome, but we didn't expect him to lead the league in interceptions. And that's what happened in this Browns game. It just went wonky, right? We had basically a 14-point swing, 3rd and goal from the 3, I believe it was, and pick 6, 99 yards, and it just felt weird right after that. I mean, the Browns, after watching them, that's the first full game I've watched them. They had all kinds of drama during the week. I think my buddy Aiden came over and watched the game. He's like, "What do you think of this game?" And I was like, "You know what? I think we're going to win. I picked us to win, but I also said I think Baker's going to play well, because Baker's the kind of guy, like when the heat is on and the pressure's on, that's when he performs. He also just kicks the Bengals' ass. I mean, he's like 7-1 against the Bengals, and versus the rest of the league, he's okay, but versus the Bengals, he's amazing. So he owns us in our house. I saw a meme this week that I thought was hilarious. That I'm trying to think of it now. It was a picture of Paul Brown from aerial view, and whatever Baker's commercial, At Home with Baker, I think is I forget who he does commercials with. Is it State Farm or something like that? But it was a picture of Paul Brown Stadium and said At Home with Baker or whatever. I was like, yep, he owns the Bengals. So I after watching that game, I think it got wonky because of the turnovers. The pick six put us, it felt like a 14-point swing. The Chase fumble and then another interception that landed the Browns on our 8-yard line. You just can't do that. They're a good team. They've got more talent than us. Like when I looked at that game, particularly their offensive line was just so good. That guard Teller, who they just re-signed this week too, they just extended. He made 2 great plays. The play that Chubb broke for 60. Go back and watch that on replay. You see him making this diving block on Jesse Bates, and he's like, before Chubb's even gone, you see Teller, the guard, get up and start bouncing because he was like, ooh, he felt super good about it. And like they even show, I think the broadcast showed him on the sideline, like telling his other teammates about it. That dude's good, and their line is good. Baker's okay, and he plays. I think Baker just plays good when he's just like that guy you played backyard basketball with that was like okay, but plays better when he talks a lot of smack. And I think this was a week of like smack talk for Baker. Like he just gets hot, and he may or may not be their long-term solution. I'm be curious to see if they extend him. I think they will. And I think also now that OBJ's gone, they'll actually play a little better potentially, But he played well. So whatever, the game got away from us. I think that's I think it's similar to the Baltimore game in that are we a 41-17 better team than the Ravens? No. That game was close until Chase spun out of that tackle and broke it. And that kind of broke the Ravens' back. And this one wasn't quite like that because we were playing catch-up, it seemed. They had the deep bomb to Donovan Peoples-Jones, and they had the Chubb breakaway, and then we had 3 turnovers deep in our own territory. So it was just like we could hang with them. We drove down back-to-back touchdowns basically in the first 2 drives of the game. I think our defense, Logan Wilson is getting, I don't know, picked on, but he's not having the games he had earlier in the season. I think without that second really good edge rusher, and teams just figuring us out, right? Teams are now going to figure out for the rest of the year, which they're right, we're vulnerable over the middle still. We're better than we were. Pratt and Gaither and Wilson are better, but that's still where they can get us, and Chubb is just good too. So they got a lead early, and they could play into their strengths, which was run Chubb and not make Baker have to win it for them, and that's where they get in trouble. So, later in the year, I think we play them the last game of the year in Cleveland. That could be for a playoff spot. That'll be really interesting to watch. But everyone else on YouTube or podcasts, they're better at breaking down technical stuff than I am, for sure. I just want to mention a few more words about, from a fan's perspective again, how do you approach this team? How do you approach this season? And every fan can kind of take it as they want to take it and can live out there. You can be the tailgater guy who dresses up in a Star Wars Bengal stormtrooper outfit. Shout out to that guy. Or tiger face paint. Or you could be, you could casually check in on the score after the game. Or you can be like I am, somewhere in the middle. And the reason I watch the NFL, which I find very strange, honestly, because there's like a lot of problems with the NFL, obviously. There's gambling addictions, there's concussions, there's, what's his name, the 49ers quarterback, whatever his name is, calling the NFL modern day slavery, which is an interesting take that I don't agree with. But there are a lot of issues with the NFL. We all know that. I've traditionally, baseball has always been my favorite sport. It was my favorite sport to play. It was my favorite sport to watch. I didn't watch one pitch of the World Series this year, and I've been a proponent of watching baseball. I think, bear with me as I'm trying to figure this out. I haven't had, I don't have cable, and I didn't buy the MLB package, so it's just access to the games as part of it. I have access to the Bengals. they're on network television, which I have, and honestly, I like their coverage. I like Paul Dehner Jr. And Jay Morrison on their podcast. I like it's fun. That's my kind of entertainment, and it's a manageable sport in that it's roughly half the year, and it's for a father of five. When you don't have a lot of time and you want to be a good dad and husband, then it's something I feel like it doesn't have to be overwhelming, especially if you don't play any fantasy sports, which I got out of several years back, I think when my first kid was born. So I like the Bengals. So if you're where I'm at, and you're also a Cincinnati fan who's followed these teams for years, or even if you're not where I'm at, how do you manage this team? And part of this is just this is a little fan therapy right now, I think, which is like, you can't get too high with the wins, you can't get too low with the losses, and it's weird that sports can impact our moods so much, and I don't think they should. I think I learned this lesson back with the 2012 Reds. I was deep into that season. I followed everything and read every article on it, and the amount of time I put into that season as a grown adult man was like, what am I doing? Like, after we went up 2 games and then lost 3 straight, and I just realized, like, it's like putting an investment into something that's like going up, 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 and then boom, tanks. Shout out to Casey Luttrell for that meme, which cracked me up on our crypto thread this week. Which reminds me, Scott Duber, Brian Ramstetter, we are undefeated when you're at my house watching the game. You didn't show up this week. We lost. I place this loss squarely on your shoulders. So, as I'm talking about balance in your life, clearly your priorities are out of whack. So I'm just going to throw that out there, and you're going to have to deal with it, because I blame you 100%. You guys know I'm kidding. But anyway, I think so what is this team? They can be really good. I think they can beat anyone, and I think they still have holes. And they're on the rise. Remaining of the year is a harder schedule. I think we can win these games. I think we can get into the playoffs. I think we can win a playoff game. Joe Burrow is awesome. And we're explosive. And we have the ability with Mixon to put teams away when we have leads. So, but I think what we're seeing is we're mortal. There are holes. We need another corner. We need another edge rusher. We still need a better O-line. Those are the big pieces. So we're not perfect. No team is perfect in the NFL, and that's the way the NFL likes it. And so it should be a fun ride. I think that's my advice for the rest of this season is, like, enjoy the ride. Don't get too high if we win. Don't get too low if we lose. If we get to the playoffs, I think there's going to be a lot of anxiety in Cincinnati because of the Marvin Lewis 0-5 days. But I don't know. Again, Bengals fans are great. Bengals are great at setting up their fans to feel pain in new and extraordinary ways. If we get to the playoffs, I feel like I'm going to feel different than when we had Dalton and Lewis going into the playoffs, because that team had a track record of choking. This team is building a track record of playing better when the lights are bigger. So, and Joe Burrow certainly has a track record of that. So what we've seen in the last 2 weeks is a young team who maybe started reading their own press a little bit too much, making mistakes. Hey, turnovers, a lot of interceptions. Turnovers do not help. And that's what you can put the last few games on, and some poor tackling. I think that was our worst tackling percentage. Again, it's Chubb, but I think I read that was our worst tackling percentage game of the season. Every game we've lost, our tackling percentage on defense has been really bad. So tackle better and don't throw picks. And maybe we'll be in the playoffs. I hope you guys are enjoying this season. They're a fun team to watch. They're on the rise regardless of if we make the playoffs this year or not. Likeliness is we go, 500 the rest of the way. Maybe we play great and go 5-3. Maybe we play not so great and win 2 games. Could be any of those options, I think. But it should be fun. And I know this is a real estate channel, but I like the fact that it's reaching some of you Bengals fans as well. And I love seeing your comments on here and jumping on these live streams. I don't, as it's Wednesday, so it's harder for me to get to these on Mondays or Tuesdays, just when I have super busy weeks and I'm helping clients. But I'm trying to get to these at least once a week because it's just fun for me to talk about something other than just real estate all the time. Which, by the way, I think I'm going to go in and record some real estate videos right now. Hope you guys have a great Wednesday. Enjoy the bye week. Reset your expectations. Enjoy the ride. Don't let the Bengals ruin your life. Just their entertainment, and allow them to bring you together with friends, which is what I'm doing this season, which is what I'm really enjoying. That's actually my favorite part of this season, besides the Bengals being better, is the fact that I'm watching a lot of these games with friends, and that's super enjoyable. So hope you do the same. Hope you have a great Wednesday, and I will see you guys later.